Hi. So today I thought I would change topic again because I have something on my mind that maybe is interesting to share. I don't know, probably not, but I'm already filming, so let's do it. And it is the topic of dating in your 30s, I guess, because I just turned 30 this July. Now we're in almost November, so kind of recently. And I feel like the whole game, at least for me, how I perceived dating in my 20s, now that I'm in my 30s, has changed completely, which makes no sense when I say it out loud because it's literally some months since I was 20 something. But still, I don't know why turning 30 made this whole thing change in my mind, so I thought I would talk about it. Let's do it. I feel like in your 20s, everyone says that you just need to play, you just need to meet people, and whatever happens, happens without anything in your mind, without getting too focused on the future. At least that's what everyone was telling me, and I feel like that's what I did. Especially for me, like being gay, I got to the dating game much later than others. So I feel like when straight teenagers were meeting people, their first girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, I still didn't know what I liked back then. I feel like everyone around me knew what I liked, but not me. And this is me being completely honest. I didn't know. And it was not until after college when I realized that I like men. So I feel like what a lot of straight people go through when they are teenagers or early 20s, I was experiencing on my early 20s, which there's nothing wrong, but I feel like I was already starting the game much later than my friends. And that's just a fact. Again, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I feel like when I was in my 20s, I was dating, I was having fun. There was some people that the thing was more serious, and that was completely okay. But for the most part, I was just focusing on myself. I was prioritizing myself. I was having fun, and if someone wanted to stick, then I was staying with that person for a little longer. But I've never been a person to be in long-term relationships. I had a couple, I would say, technically one, like a really long one, like over a year. I would say one relationship. And then I had quite a lot of people for some months or some weeks and just getting to know each other. And eventually we did not align for any of the reasons. All of this to say that now that I turn 30, I feel like when I date, when I'm meeting people, it's not just to have fun, it's also to have fun, of course, because that's my main goal in life, to just enjoy. And I know whatever I'm going, whatever my goal is, I want to enjoy the process. And I feel like that's a really good mentality to have, not just suffer, not just focus on the end goal. You have to enjoy absolutely every part of the process. So that's what I'm doing. But now dating on my 30s, my mentality has shifted completely. I don't know why. Because when you turn 30, you realize that if you wanna do these big accomplishments, quote unquote, you need to start thinking about it on your early 30s. At least that's how I feel. Let's say if I wanna have a child, I have to start thinking about it kind of soon if I don't want to be at that really late in life. And just saying this out loud, it's completely crazy because I never thought about having kids before turning 30. And again, I turned 30 just like 3 4 months ago. So there has been a lot of things going on in my mind lately. Or even the fact of getting married. When I was in my 20s, I thought I wanted to get married, but it was a thing that I would do in the future. I didn't want to focus on that. But now in my 30s, I feel like if I want to get married, I need to know someone much before. So I need to start getting to know the one kind of soon. I don't know. But at the same time, so this feels like there's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I want to keep enjoying life. I want to keep enjoying dating and meeting people. It's just that now it comes with a lot of overthinking, maybe. I don't know if this is making any sense, but let's say right now, since I turned 30, I met two guys on the apps on Tinder. So when I'm meeting someone, I really want to get to know that person truly. And I don't want to focus on other people. So before, when I was dating, I was maybe meeting different people at the same time, or not willingly, but it just happened that I was meeting someone and maybe some other person wanted to meet the next week. So it was kind of at the same time, but not really, because most of the time I was going on 1 or 2 dates with someone and then the other person or me decided not to continue, and that's completely fine. But now what I'm doing, if I'm meeting someone, if I'm going on a date, I will focus 100% on that person, and I wanna do that because I feel like that's the way to do it now on my 30s. I feel like now it's really like logical, really rational, while before I was just having fun and not expecting much. But now I feel like I'm doing more properly. If the end goal is to, I don't know, have a family, have kids, get married, and just saying these words, it's quite a lot for me because I never thought that I would think about this stuff. But at the same time, it makes sense because when you turn 30, you have kind of like a career a little bit established if everything went well. You have your friends that are not changing so often, so you have the same people around you. I feel like you're getting to a point where you are more stabilized or established. I don't know if that's the same, if those words have the same meaning, but you know what I mean. So then the next step would be this, and I'm trying to do this, like getting to know people while having fun, but it's a bit tricky sometimes. And I'll put a couple of examples. Sometimes it can be a waste of time because I know that when I'm meeting someone now, I will focus 100% on them. I want to know them. I want them to know me, and I will do my all. So I do everything on my power so the relationship can move forward and it can become something more serious. If I like the person, of course, I'm not gonna do that with absolutely everyone, but for now, that's the plan. But you don't know what the other person is, what the other person journey is, and that's a bit tricky because some people would say that if you have such a clear vision of what you want, just tell the other person, and if they are not in the same page, just move on and find a better fit. But I don't think that's the right mentality because sometimes you meet people, the other person doesn't know what they're looking for yet, so they are open to a lot of things. And I don't think it's fair to just say, okay, since you don't know what you're looking for, you're open to a lot. That's not what I'm looking for because I just want a serious relationship. I will skip you. I will move on to the next person. I don't think that's fair, and I feel like that's kind of arrogant from my side, and that's not what I want to do. If someone really clearly says, I'm just looking for a hookup, I'm not looking for anything serious, like at all, if he's so convinced about that, then I will be clear and I will be honest to myself and be like, okay, I'm not looking for that at all. So we're just on different paths, different journeys, and that's completely fine. But if someone is open to everything, I feel like why not try something else? And this is what is happening to the relationship, not relationship, to situationship that I'm having right now. But before going to this one, I'll talk a little bit about the previous one. So since I turned 30, I've been meeting two different guys, two different timelines, let's say. It was one first and then the other one. So for the first one, I went on two different dates. And the first one, it was great. I thought we were vibing, we clicked, and we were laughing, and we had some similarities, but not we were not too similar, because that's the other thing. If I am with someone, I don't want the other person to be exactly like me, because I want to explore new things and do new stuff. So I don't want a carbon copy of myself. And I also don't want people who just say yes to everything, because that's another thing that happens. Often people tend to say yes to make you happy, but that's not the way to do it, because if someone just comes along with me and says yes to absolutely everything, I feel like they don't have initiative, they don't have the capacity to say no or to propose new stuff. I don't like that, so it has to be something in between. I also know that I'm really picky with the people that I choose to date, so I'm working on that. And I'm also working on not being so superficial. And I know that this sounds really vague and kind of fake, but I'm really making the effort of not being so superficial, because I truly think that there are a lot of really nice people. Like, maybe the love of my life is ugly as fuck, and I just don't give him a chance. Maybe his personality is the absolute best. We click, we want to do the same things, and we are really, really compatible. But then on the surface, I'm not vibing with that. And that sucks. But if I'm being really honest, I feel like everyone is a little bit superficial, and me too, but I'm trying to work on it. I don't know how, to be completely honest, but I'm trying to go through that, to not focus a lot on the superficial part. But at the same time, if you're meeting someone, especially through the apps, it's kind of impossible to just focus on the personality, because the first thing that you see is the face, the body, and the physical attributes, physical appearance. So that one is a bit tricky, but still I'm working on it, or at least I'm telling myself that I'm working on it. So that's the first step, maybe. But yeah, what I was saying about the other guy, we went on two dates. The first one was great, it was awesome. And then something happened in between, because I traveled somewhere for quite a long time. And then when I went back, we met again, and I thought it was still okay, but I could notice some distance from his part. I don't know why, and that's the other thing. Sometimes you think that everything is okay and absolutely nothing happened, but maybe the other person is not about me, it's not about the person that they are meeting. It's just that they are going through something in their life and they cannot focus on you, or maybe they've seen some behavior on you that is just part of yourself, and they didn't vibe with that, they didn't like it. And that's completely fine, because there's nothing wrong with me in this case. It's just that they don't like this in another person, if that makes sense. And I feel like in that relationship, I didn't want to overthink about what was the thing that made him not like me, because it could be a million stuff, and it can even not be about me. It can be about his personal life, his work, his studies, whatever. So I feel like that also helps, like dating in your 30s. I feel like when you are 20 something, you overthink a lot about absolutely everything. If the other person is not replying to you, or if they are ghosting, you always put the blame on yourself. But we need to be realistic and also be aware of the fact that we are not the center of the world. We are the center of our world, but not of everyone around us. So maybe they are going through whatever they don't want to explain, and they don't have to explain. And then we start overthinking that it's something about us, something that we did. So we have to stop this toxic mindset. But yeah, with this guy, I keep going on rambles. With this guy, something happened with him, I don't know what it is, but he decided to not meet me anymore, to just ghost me. And I guess that's fine. At that time, I was quite upset, but lives move on. And again, he will have his reasons, and that's his choice. I think it's a bit immature to not even, after going on a couple of dates, not even send the message like, oh, now I'm at this point that I don't want to meet other person, or I don't like you for X, Z, and Y, which is quite hard. And I get why people ghost just because they don't want to make it uncomfortable. So whatever reason it was, he decided not to continue with me, and that's completely fine. And now I'm meeting another guy, and we went on 4 dates so far, and I feel like it's going okay, but I'm also overthinking about so many things. But mainly the thing that I'm overthinking about is communication via WhatsApp, which sounds so stupid when I say it out loud, but either we like it or not, in 2024, communicating via phone, via WhatsApp, it's an important thing because I don't expect my potential boyfriend to be 24/7 on his phone. But in order to meet, you have to at least communicate a little bit. So it's a bit wild. Let's not wild. It's a bit odd for me. Let's leave it at that, because usually I've been on the other side of the spectrum where people are complaining to me that I'm not on WhatsApp and then I don't reply quickly enough and this kind of thing. So it's interesting now to be on the other side, on the receiving end, if you will, because someone else is doing that to me. And then again, you start overthinking like, oh, maybe there's something that I did that he didn't like, or maybe, I don't know, you start overthinking about the stupidest reasons. But now, then I try to be more rational, more logical, and be like, okay, we're just meeting each other. I haven't done anything wrong. And if I did something wrong, we are grown ups and he can say it to me. Until the moment that this doesn't happen, until the moment that this person doesn't come to me and is like, oh, you did this thing and that bothered me, this is why I'm distant. If we're not communicating about this kind of stuff, there's no way for me to know, and I don't want to overthink about it, because overthinking is one of the most horrible things that can happen to absolutely everyone, and we all do it, even if we don't like to admit it, but everyone overthinks about some stuff. And that's the thing about overthinking, that there's no specific, you will never find the truth in it, because that's what you are overthinking, because there's no sense, there's nothing logical, there's no outcome that you can get to. It's just overthinking for the sake of overthinking, and that's super super toxic. So I decided not to do it. And again, this is really easy to say, but not as easy to put into practice. But this is what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I feel like it's like a test, like this guy is doing to me, but yeah, that's another story. So yeah, what I was saying about dating on your 30s, I feel like now I'm doing it more intentionally. Now I'm going with another mindset, but still wanting to have fun, wanting to enjoy the process, and not do it like a robot, almost like, okay, I want to have kids and I want to be married by the age of 40 or before that. So I feel like this puts a little bit of pressure, but we have to learn to work with that pressure and make the process fun and enjoyable, because it's okay to have specific goals, but it's also okay to have fun in the meantime. Like in my case, what I'm saying all the time, I want a family, I want to have kids, I want a serious relationship by before I'm 40. I don't want to put a specific date, but before I'm 40. So I have to start thinking about it, because being gay, for example, the process of having kids is not as easy as straight couples. I cannot just go to bed and start doing the kid. I have to be more thoughtful. I have to adopt, or I have to do the, I don't know what's the name, the surrogate, like getting someone else pregnant with my or my partner's sperm and all this stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's gonna be more expensive, and it's gonna be more time consuming, I guess. Like, you have to do your research, you have to talk with a lot of people and stuff. So if I really want to, I think it's okay to start thinking about it now. But again, a little bit of pressure is okay, but also I need to enjoy, and I need to have fun, because truly, when you think about it, I don't have any rush. Uh, Lately, people have been having kids later in life, and this is completely fine. But I feel like people from my generation, like, again, I turned 30, you have a little bit of everything in your circle. So there's people who are single as fuck, there's people who already have kids, there are people who are getting married soon. There's a lot of different situations, so it's really easy to compare yourself to others. And that's okay, I guess, if you do it not in a toxic way. But it's also fine to see, I guess what I'm trying to say, like, it's good to see different journeys around you. Not because you have to compare yourself, not because you have to be like, oh, I really want what my best friend is having, which is getting married or a kid. It's just that if your friend is going through that, and you decide that you also want that, maybe start working on it, start making moves towards that. I don't know, I feel like it's a good thing that everyone is in a different journey, because every journey is okay, is completely fine. And on the same breath, there's gonna be things really soon that you're not gonna be able to do if you don't start focusing on this stuff right now. Like, for example, for me, I think I want kids. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. So might as well start thinking about it now that I'm 30. Because if I start thinking about it when I'm 40, I still can do it, of course, but it's gonna be more difficult, I think. And I guess that's it. To sum it all up, dating on your 20s, it was fun, and that's how it should be. And it's also completely fine if people want to go in long-term relationships on their 20s. That's completely okay, of course. But for me, it was just getting to learn myself, getting to learn what I like, getting to know how I am and how I am with other people, which is really important. And again, I was a little bit late to the game, so it took me a little bit more time, and it's completely fine. But now that I'm on my 30s, and I experimented before, I'm going with another mentality, and it feels good. It feels okay. So to be completely honest, every now and then I'm like, should I download Grinder and just fuck around with one person, one different person every day of the week? Because that sounds fun and is really plausible, because we have the option with the apps. But right now, I want to focus on one person at a time and see what happens. So if something happens with the person that I'm seeing, I will be really happy, really relieved, because I've done everything on my power, and I focus my full attention on that person, so the relationship can progress, can go to the next steps. So I can end that relationship knowing that I've done everything in my power for it to work, and I can move on to the next one with this peace of mind. Because if I'm meeting multiple people at the same time, maybe a thing with one person didn't work because I was also focused on another person. So if I'm focusing all my attention into one, that's the way to do it for me at this point in my life. All my attention talking about relationships, not all my attention in general, because I also focus my attention on work, on working out, like on my friends, on myself. But talking about relationships, I want to focus all that attention in one person, because then if something happens, if the relationship goes to hell for some reason, I know that I've done my best and the best that I could. And yeah, I guess it's a good note to end this video. And lots of rambling around. I don't know if I'll even post this. I don't know if it makes sense, but I just wanted to let it out of my head for a little bit, because this dating situation, it can be tricky. Everyone is doing their different journeys. All the journeys are completely fine as long as you are happy during this journey and enjoying life, and not focusing 100% on the relationship aspect of your life, because we are so much more than that. We are a lot of things. And that's it, because the video is getting really long. Thanks for watching.